Well, beloved dub motherfuckers, what is going on, everyone? It is everyone's favorite jack of all trades with the foul mouth, Come to Urban. And welcome back to another awesome fucking video, guys. I really do appreciate it. Before I do dive into this bitch, I want to give a big special shout out to all of you guys, my viewers and my subscribers, for sticking around watching this shit. The reason why I fucking do is for all you guys, so yeah. Anyway, got ourselves a really interesting book to review. And it really opened my eyes to the tragedy that befell the Titanic. And it's absolutely a fucking stunning read. And for all of my viewers out there, fellow Titaniacs, fellow Titanic maniacs and ship buffs, you should really check into this book. And the book I'm reviewing to you guys here is called The Last Log of the Titanic by David G. Brown. What really happened on the doomed ship's bridge? Nearly 9 decades after the event, the sinking of the Titanic continues to command more attention than any other 20th century catastrophe. Yet, most of what is commonly believed about the fateful night 1912 is at best a body of myth and legend, nurtured by the ship's owners and surviving officers and kept alive by generations of authors and movie makers. That, at least, is the thesis presented in this compelling, bold, thoroughly plausible, contrarian reconstruction of the last hours of the Pride of the White Star Line. The new but no less harrowing Titanic story that Captain David G. Brown unfolds is one of involving a tragic chain of events on the part of the well-meaning crew, the pernicious influence of the ship's haughty owner, who was aboard for the maiden trip, and a fatal overconfidence in the infallibility of early 20th century technology. Among the most startling facts to emerge are the Titanic did not collide with an iceberg, but instead ran aground on a submerged ice shelf, resulting in damage not to the ship's sides, but to the bottom of her hull. First Officer Murdoch never gave the infamous crash stop reverse engines order. Rather, he ordered an all-stop, allowing him to execute a nearly successful S-curve maneuver around the berg. The iceberg did not materialize unheralded from an ice-free sea. The Titanic was likely steaming at 22.5 knots through scattered ice with no extra lookouts posted for 2 hours or more before the fatal encounter. Visibility was poor that night, and the only signs of haze or distortion were those produced by the ice field itself as the Titanic approached. Most startling of all, however, is evidence that the ship might have stayed afloat long enough to permit the rescue of all passengers and crew if Captain Smith, at the behest of his employee, Bruce Ismay, had not given the order to resume steaming. Offering a radically new interpretation of the facts surrounding the most famous shipwreck in history, The Last Log of the Titanic is certain to ignite a storm of controversy. And here's the thing, Captain David G. Brown, he's a captain, so he knows how ships operate. He's commanded ships, so he knows how ships act. In this book, he literally strips away the myth and the legends from what happened. And it's very, very startling at what I learned. And this is all the... And it's an amazing book, and I will be explaining to you what this book tells about, using a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So, we're going to go ahead and start talking about what I learned about in this book. Anyway, the Titanic. This is... Okay. What Captain Brown suggested in this book was that when the Titanic, right here, we have here my 1/1200 scale model of the Titanic, had been steaming through an ice field for over several hours without knowing. And this is going to represent the iceberg. Now the iceberg is way over here. Now, from what he said, the crew in the crow's nest had warned Murdoch and the officers on the bridge over 10 minutes prior to them coming close to this fucking thing that there was a dark mass in front of them. So the ship was there, mass there, and so the ship was literally going on its way with no course changing. And finally, when it gets to a point about here, that's when Murdoch makes his famous maneuver, but Murdoch does not do exactly like it says in the movie. The iceberg is dead ahead when first spotted. Murdoch's port around maneuver results in the bow swinging 22.5 degrees to the left, meaning it was going to clear. But Murdoch's ports the helm to swing the stern out of the harm's way, because here's the thing with ships. When you steer a ship, they're not like a fucking car steer from the front. They steer from their ass in. So the bow moves first, and it clears the berg. But because it's doing this, the back end's going to hit the berg. So what's he do? He turns the port over, like so. Okay? This turns the bow to the right, grounding the ship on the underwater ice shelf. Let's just say this right here is the underwater ice shelf, okay? The ship grinds up on it, like so. Okay? Titanic's bow breaks free of the iceberg while the stern continues to swing away, like so, and coasts to its first stop after the incident. Okay? So it coasts like so. Like it shows in this diagram right about here. See, that's the thing, that's not even the startling part of it. And this is how the iceberg would have caused damage to the Titanic. And here is a flooding chart. The space inside the Titanic's double bottom was subdivided into 44 watertight compartments in the bottom, like the very bottom of the ship. Grinding across the ice shelf flooded these on the starboard side, causing the ship's immediate list. Some water entered the holds and boiler rooms number 6 prior to when the ship began making way again. But the fatal loss of boiler room number 6 occurred while the ship was steaming to Halifax. Yes, for the first 10 minutes after the collision, the water reached up in the compartments like so. See, while stopped. See, that's the flooded tanks while stopped. So after the Titanic had basically, was sitting, she was fine. The pumps and everything were keeping the water at bay and she could stay afloat. But here's where it really got fucked. Bruce Ismay, the owner of the White Star Line, wanted this ship to get underway again. Okay? He wanted this ship to get somewhere. And so there was a message that had been sent, and it's been kind of not so much known now. Titanic sent a message that she was going to go to Halifax, the closest port. And so what did? They started moving the ship at half speed. And so when they were doing that, pushing the damage that the ship had, she had slight damage on the sides, but most of the damage was under the ship. She grounded on the underside. Okay, and what Captain Brown's saying, that damage there, as the ship was moving, it was pushing water into the ship, basically pushing her to the brink of no return. Just like what happened in 1916 when Britannic hit the mine. Her captain tried to beach her, but did the same thing. Drove her forward, put more water into her, and she capsized and fucking sank. Okay? Now, here's the thing. From what Captain Brown is saying, and if I can understand what he's saying correctly, had Titanic not moved after she had struck this damn thing, the iceberg, yes, the wad of fucking paper, had she stayed put where she was at, if she just stayed put and sat and kept her pumps running and kept the water out, the flooding could have been controlled long enough for ships to arrive. Like the California could have arrived that morning. Carpathia could have arrived in the morning and she could have still been there afloat. But because they tried to move a damaged ship, and he said that was the biggest fucking mistake they made. And the biggest mistake Captain Smith made was moving a damaged ship before you know the extent of what happened to her. Because of them driving the ship forward like they did, it doomed her. The iceberg damage really did screw her over, but it was survivable. She could have survived. And she probably would have survived had they not fucking moved her. But because of them driving the ship forward slightly after 10 minutes after she had stopped from hitting the iceberg, they drove her forward, and that's what caused the flooding to progress, and that's what killed her. And from after reading this book, I was amazed. I was shocked. And furthermore, I was horrified of such fucking negligence. It's horrible. And Captain Brown explained it perfectly, because like I said, he's a captain. He knows ship handling. He's a master ship handler. So if anybody could fucking understand what happened to the Titanic, it's a captain. And I can tell you right now, the man is a fucking genius. I absolutely love the book. It's a masterpiece. It's easy to understand. Even a layman can understand it. And if you ever see this Captain Brown, your book is fucking brilliant. And I think what you said is correct. I think it pretty much comes down to it. Titanic could have survived had they not pushed her forward. So all in all, this book will get you thinking. This book will make you question what you really know about the Titanic. So I give it 2 thumbs up and 5 stars for that. So it's an amazing fucking book. So there you have it, guys. That is my review and a little explanation of the book, The Last Log of the Titanic by Captain David G. Brown. And if you have any questions or comments about anything, leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back with you. And if you're new to the channel and you like the shit I fucking do, I'm a jack of all trades. With the foul mouth, I do a little bit of fucking everything and shit. Hit the fucking subscribe button. Hit the damn notification bell. I'll never miss a video from yours truly ever again. And until next time, this is Commodore Urban. Saying a smooth seas and clear skies. Happy sailing with you. God bless you all. Take care, stay safe, be yourselves. Jesus and the good Lord love y'all very much. And until next time, I'll catch you in a warm trade wind where hailing wind knows. Let's go Brandon. Fuck Joe Biden and Kamala Harris both, because they both fucking suck. And Trump 2024, baby. Yeah.